Ninka fo lambiti ni wol. Ninka bilo ko ngajindi bal karera bal be sa wolto ngajindi bal ndiwol sanje. Paro mbika sambiti ko. Hanu omo nka di nyola. Uro safuno ke bere. Ndola yinka fo nyabo ka fo danu nimmi ya kaira kuso. Yinka fo ma fuka nyote Gambia kono ja. Bar ndol mon ka fuje mi ya lon ko nyabo ta fe. Because ninni momo beta dawoda.
The ultimate aim of this fund is to establish a women's bank, and we look forward to creating such a bank in the next 5 years. I have no doubt that this is possible because we have the support of the government, we have the support of President Adam Barrow. He has assured us that every year we get more funding for the Women Enterprise Fund, and we have no doubt that he can provide that to us.
Young people constitute the largest chunk of the country's population. And to ensure that this vital segment of the country's demographic is utilized effectively for the advancement of the country, the Barrow administration set out to galvanize the creativity and ingenuity of the youths into the country's development program.
There is a big skill gap in this country. That's why we want to train our people to be skillful, build their capacity.
January of last year, the president launched the youth revolving loan and the loan and the grant scheme up to the tune of $20 million. And so far we've had a lot of young people that have passed through NEDI and SDF, and they've been supported with some between 50,000 to 500,000 to either establish new businesses or to expand on the existing business. And that is also meant to ensure that, not being xenophobic, but encourage Gambians to take up the informal sector and be the ones that will control the businesses that we have in this country. So all of these are initiatives that government have put in place in the last 4 or 5 years to ensure that our young people are supported, they are empowered, and they are trained.
It's important for us to have our youth employed because they are migrating. We don't want our youth to migrate. Our biggest strength as a country is our human resource, and the youths are the manpower. If they migrate from this country, it will affect our country in the future. We have to make sure we make good use of our youths.
One of the biggest achievements in the country is the qualification of our national team to the African Cup of Nations for the first time after so many decades of trial. It's based on a lot of factors, but one of the key factors is the investment, because sports without investment is never going to grow. President, having realized that, put up a special fund to support the sports, and that is what has been financing our national team, and that has contributed greatly towards the qualification of the Gambia to the AFCON next year in Cameroon. During the qualification period of the AFCON, government spent $105 million in just the qualification, just for the national team. That is different from basketball, different from volleyball. And that is almost close to what we have in our annual budget, as a ministry. The Olympics participation cost government about $5 million. And currently, in preparing the team to go to the AFCON, we government...
For quality education. ECD education used to be the area controlled by the private sector, by private schools. And we know that beyond the Greater Banjul area, parents cannot afford to pay for private ECD education. So to address the equity issues in terms of education, the ministry decided to incorporate ECD education into all our lower basic schools.
We have achieved a lot as far as education is concerned. We have built the university. The phase 1 and phase 2 is finishing now. And we are trying to access funds. That is about 22 million to finish the third phase. You know, we have built the basic college. And we have provided a lot of scholarships to teachers just to build their capacity. Almost 60–70% of students going to the University of the Gambia are on scholarship.
Without the intervention of MOPSI, I wouldn't be able to pay for myself to come and advance my educational career, because it is definitely, it requires a lot, for an individual to put together to continue with your educational career.
We have about 432 students here enrolled in all programs. Out of these 432 students, 48% of the students are on scholarship on MRC Holland. MRC Holland gave them scholarship. And about 22% of them were teachers, and they are benefiting from the MOPSI scholarship. They are in-service teachers, either in the advanced diploma secondary or advanced diploma primary. And then another scholarship package is also around, that is SOS, those sponsors some students, and then area councils and other philanthropists. So that is about 10% of the students. So mostly here, it is about 20% of the students that are not on scholarship, and most of them are Islamic students. So once they have the requirement that donors look at, then they are given scholarship. And what is most interesting is some of them are from the communities here, and they have been in their communities doing a lot of things in the communities. They have the requirement, but they have not gone to college. But when this college was established, I can give you typical examples where an imam in Galemanda, one Mr. Job, is enrolled in the college here. He's the imam there, and he is a student here. So that shows that many people have requirement, but due to access, it became a problem. But once the access was there, then it became easy for them. You go to Pasamas also, we have another guy there who is a family man who is having 2 wives here as a student and is pursuing the diploma program. He also graduated since we don't have the grade system. He graduated with Form 4 with very good results, and he's also enrolled here. He's also benefiting from such. So you can see people from diverse walks of life, from different communities in URR and CRR here are benefiting from scholarships. So I think the coming of the college here is very timely.
From 2017 to now, you go to CRR, and CRR North in particular, where we had a lot of out-of-school children. A lot of children were out of school. They started with temporary classrooms. Now you go to places like Kir Alasan, Tamba, and all those places in CRR North. You will find permanent, beautiful classrooms that have been constructed with water supply, solar system, and all those. But those schools started with temporary structures, makeshift classrooms. But all that is what has increased the enrollment. If we had left those children out because there were no classrooms, we would not have been talking about enrollment increasing from 500,000 to about 700,000 or over 700,000 now. We started off with free girls' education, but now it is free education for everybody, both boys and girls. Nobody pays school fees from grade 1 to grade 12. Children can go to school from ECD to grade 12 and not pay, they're not expected to pay any fees. It's free education. Tuition-free education is what we have in the Gambia now. And apart from that, textbooks are also provided free of charge from grade 1 to grade 9. And for senior schools are paid $2,000 per student for their textbooks. For examination fees, some of us might understand that there was a time children or students would get up to an examination class, and because their parents cannot afford the examination fees, now even that has been waived. Nobody pays for grade 9 exam fees, and no student pays for their grade 12 examination fees. It's all free. So that is why everybody has the same opportunity. Whether you are in the Greater Banjul area or you are in the remotest part of the country.
Most of the schools are in remote villages. They don't have enough housing for teachers. So that's why we are building now teachers' quarters for teachers. I think we have built more than 1,000 houses for teachers, and we will continue doing that. So that if you are living in a village, you will live as comfortable as somebody who is living in Serekunda. That's why we are talking about decentralization. Decentralization is not the location alone, but to make sure that facilities are the same. You access everything. clean drinking water, electricity, good housing, those kind of things. Decentralization cannot work if these things are not available. That means you create the environment. If you transfer somebody from Serekunda, he feels that if I move to Basi, it's the same thing. If I move to Koina, it's the same thing. This is what we are trying to do.
By the time the Barrow administration came into office, the country's tourist industry was on the decline. The brief political impasse only made it worse. But due to the governance environment, the country's tourism sector sprung back into life.
As a government, we are faced with these challenges of rebranding our country internationally. The narratives of our country, we needed to redo them again and give it a different image. Number one we did was to make sure you improve on our governance. Because governance is key for any investor in any country. And by making sure that our narrative become different overseas, that attracted people to put in their money in this country, because they know that when they are grieved, they go to court, they will get justice. And that is key in determining investment for any investor in any country.
Tourism is very important to our economy. Between 20% or 25% of our GDP is from tourism. And they create employment for about 200,000 people directly or indirectly. So tourism is so important, it's huge. When we came to power, tourism arrivals increased by 28%. With the OIC coming, we are coming to build the biggest and the first full 5-star hotel. And also with the conference center, we can use Gambia as a conference destination. So that's why I told you, no infrastructure, no development. Definitely, definitely.
We believe Gambia is a right destination, that with little bit more efforts, we will get to where we are heading.
During the previous administration, the Gambia's image internationally was synonymous to its government's encroachment and abuse of its media practitioners. Arbitrary detentions and disappearance and the killing of journalists was widespread. President Barrow came into office with the promise of overseeing the growth of an unfettered media environment in the country. For 5 years now, the Gambia has sharply risen away from the bottom list of countries with the worst record against journalists and media freedom, to one champion in the cause of a free and open society with high level of media freedom and activity.
For the first time in more than 2 decades, the Gambia has seen continuous progression in terms of its ranking in the Freedom of Information Index. Also, for the first time in the history of this country, which in fact is a laudable one, the Gambia government came up with the Access to Information Law. This 5 years ago, in 2016, were not actually available to Gambians.
Sometimes people come to me, I think the freedom is too much, but we believe that we fought very hard to make sure that the media is free. And today, no doubt about that, the media freedom is really working in this.
Of Daily Observer, but now all the media houses accredited are coming to State House to cover.
If you look at the media scene today, you look around, there is no journalist in our jails. There is no journalist behind the bars. There is no journalist who has been forced to run away from this country because of perceived threat or deliberate threat, or deliberate target by the government, to ensure that dissent is crossed. Rather, what we are doing is to encourage, journalists to be the vehicle between the people and the government. And we have been having a very strong collaboration with the press union, with the civil society organizations to ensure that this process is enhanced.
The media is important to inform the people, accurate information, report as it is. I think that is very, very important because the Gambian people want to be informed. We will just advise them to be neutral. Let them report accurate information. We don't want Gambians to be misled. To me, they are our partners in development. You cannot develop without the media. So the media is very important. So you have a very important platform. Make good use of it. It's a very good trade. You can use it as a business, but genuine business for that matter. And you can help your country. And I think every media person, every Gambian should love your country. If you love your country, you make sure that you help your country. How do you help your country? Giving information that is correct.
President Adama Barrow is a tolerant leader. He's somebody who understands that democracy comes with a price. And that price is that so long you are leading a democratic nation, people will criticize a lot of things that you do, even though some of those people have very little idea about, the processes. But this is the type of price that you pay when you commit yourself to democratic governance, when you, commit yourself to democratic pluralism.
Everything that Barrow does, if it is lawful, we can do anything.
Ideas and discuss with him. And so far, for me being here for a year plus now, almost everything that we have come up with, I go to him, he will ask questions, but in the end, he gives us the approval to go ahead and do it. And we are appreciative of that kind of leadership, because that is what allows people to be innovative, to be able to think and be able to do the right things. In Adama Barrow, there's a brighter...
As the saying goes, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I think we will reach there sooner rather than later. And the president is the main driver of the bus.
Without coming together, it will be difficult for us to develop this country. Our strength is unity. Let us be united as Gambians. I'm on the campaign trail, and also as our local representative, we're going to pay them salaries for the first time in the history of this country. And also we are going to implement the salary review that we have done recently by 1st of July. And I am promising Gambians that I will continue with my infrastructural development. The sky is the limit for infrastructure in this country. With roads, I will do more roads. I'm promising you, I will do over 1,200 kilometers to expand the Gambia, to connect the Gambia. As one Asian leader has once said, let's build the roads will connect us. As Gambians, I want us to build the roads so that the roads will connect us. And also we have started the OIC roads. They will expand the urban areas. And the highway we are coming to build in the history of this country, it will be the first time you have 6-lane highway in the Gambia. And you will have overhead bridge in the Gambia for the first time. I think when it's completed, this is the life of the Gambian people. Thank you very much. Long live the Gambia, and long live Africa.